Hey guys, I'm Danica, a previous student of Mr. Dunn, and today I'll be teaching you what you need to know about natural selection for the AP test. College Board has standards that are, well, pretty useless to you. You shouldn't waste your time on that. I'm here to tell you what you really need to know for that dreaded test in May. Let's start with the basics. The definition. Natural selection determines the survival and reproduction of individuals due to physical differences. But what does that really mean? In simpler terms, it means survival of the fittest, the most adapted. However, that doesn't mean you need to be the biggest and strongest like a lion. Sometimes you need to be the sneakiest or the smartest. Whether you care or not, Charles Darwin is the daddy of natural selection. He famously studied the Galapagos finches and noticed the variations of beaks, vastly different from the mainland. The finches' beaks depended on their environment, big ones for breaking nuts, long ones for picking at insects. Darwin realized that the finches, in their geographic isolation, adapted to their environment in order to have better chances for survival, though he also realized that those adaptations did not occur over a short period of time. Thus, he hypothesized descent with modification, the early beginnings of the theory of evolution. Evolution is driven by natural selection because it selects for the fittest individuals in a species, basically killing off those who can't survive. The living individuals who are the most fit end up reproducing, causing an eventual change in the species and thus evolution. Natural selection isn't just about who lives and who dies. It's also about who gets to do the deed. Sexual selection. Sexual selection is the selection of individuals based on their mating success. Sorry, sex doesn't always sound sexy. There are two types of sexual selections. One is intersexual selection, where one sex chooses their mate based on certain traits of the other sex. Peahens, for example, will choose to mate with a peacock with the most beautiful feathers. In a nutshell, the most attractive member of a population will also be the luckiest. Wink wink. The other type is intrasexual selection, where members of one sex compete for mates, like rams. Male rams fight each other, or ram each other, to win female rams. So when you think two guys are silly for fighting over the same girl, just remember, it's part of the circle of life. Well guys, the A/B test has a bunch of graphs, and natural selection is no exception. There are three graphs, called stabilizing, directional, and disruptive selection. Let's start with the easiest, directional selection, where one extreme phenotype is preferred in a population. For example, let's say the average fur color for a mouse is brown, and two extreme variants would be light brown and black. In directional selection, the black fur would be selected, causing a shift to one extreme of the range. The next is stabilizing selection, when the median phenotype is selected for. Here, the orange color in butterflies is favored, instead of the extreme phenotypes of yellow and red, causing the evolved population to have the median color more than the original population. Lastly, the third type of selection is disruptive selection, when both extreme phenotypes are selected more than the median. Going with the butterfly example, this population would favor yellow and red colors over the orange color in the middle, showing the disruptive graph here. I hope you've been paying attention because I'm going to quiz you right about now. The answer is C because Darwin didn't know about genes and DNA. He knew there was a factor controlling traits, but he didn't know what it was exactly. Thus, mutations can't be the answer. Alright, round two. The answer is D because the Galapagos finches evolved away from the mainland influences, causing the finches at the islands to diverge and evolve. Alright, I prepared you as much as I can for the AP test. I hope you do your best, and don't forget to be awesome.
Created using Powtoon.